Welcome back to Clean for Profit. How's it going, Dave?
Good, man. I'm excited.
Right on. Today we're talking about a topic that I think hits home for a lot of people, which is why most window cleaning businesses and any given home service business kind of stalls at the $10,000 to $15,000 a month mark. I think there's a lot of reasons for it, and a lot of people have an idea of what it is, but I think it's really important to make sure that you're framing this problem in the right way. So we're going to get into that, but on a similar topic, um, it's a little bit of a tangent, but it's definitely a similar thing. I've been going through your meta ads program over
Mm.
the last couple of weeks, and you've taught me a
Tell us how
lot.
bad it is.
Yeah, it's been terrible. The instructor is rude, and
Yeah.
I don't know. We're doing it remotely, but I can tell that he kind of smells as well.
Mm.
So it's been rough. But we'll get there, dude. I mean, it's been it's been way more than I was expecting in terms of results. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank you. I, we've been working together for a couple of weeks. Actually, on our next call, our our planned itinerary was to launch my first ad. And I got to be honest, man, I got a little bit
A-
impatient and just
a-
decided to take an action
ambitious.
bias. Yeah. Ambitious. Okay. There we
Yeah.
go. You have ambitious, ambitious pupils, I guess. So I decided to launch an ad, and our,
And
our
you did that.
clientele.
Hang on, pause for a second. 'Cause you did that yourself. You launched the ad
Correct.
based on just
Correct.
what I taught you in a previous conversation.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I went over kind of a call that we went off of and just kind of followed what you did. In that call, you were just showing me a breakdown of your recommendations. I'm sure there's some tweaks that I could make that would make them a little bit more effective. But I launched that ad at about this time yesterday. I think it was about 24 hours ago. And this morning, I booked just shy of $1,500 worth of work for our business directly from those ads. And I have a
What did you
lead
spend in
on
that 24
and
hours?
and I have a lead on a potential employee. So
Oh,
that's been huge. In
huge.
terms of what I spent, yeah, I went a little bit aggressive. So I launched a window cleaning ad, and then I launched, our clientele are pretty sensitive to rain here. Like, we
Yeah.
definitely have some seasonality, and it's been raining a lot over the last couple of days. So I launched two specific ads for gutter cleaning as well, which is a service that we offer in the off season. Um, I put the budget at one for $20 a day, and I put the budget for another one at $35 a day. So we're at a total of like $55 a day in spend. All of the closed business that I just disclosed to you came from 24 hours of running those ads. So we're at like a $50-$60 ad spend over the last 24 hours. And we have on the books, about 1480 scheduled in terms of revenue. So
That's
it's been really
crazy.
killer. Yeah. I don't want to like turn this, we'll talk plenty about your program because we've established a relationship and it's what you do. But like for anybody that's like heard about your program and is interested in it, this is just one of many people that you could get to raise their hands to say like, yes, do it. Yeah, it's worth the price of admission. And not only that, but when you sign up, I have access to your school community. We're getting on a community call right after this.
Yeah.
It's something that you sign up for, and it pays dividends down the road. I'm meeting new business owners, people that have ambitions in both the cleaning space and parallel spaces. So it's just been a huge value add. So I just wanted to say thanks for that real quick.
It's amazing, bro. I mean, you did all the work. So the fact that you went in and built an ad like that, and I mean, your ROI is fantastic. And that's what we want. That's what we want for home service business owners in general. If you're going to pay for ads, it needs to be like that for it to actually work so that you can be profitable still and scale and all of that. So it's awesome.
Yeah. And like you said, it's pretty simple. You don't need to hire an agency and pay
Mm-mm.
them $1,500, $2,000, $5,000 a month to run ads for you. I shot the video ad that I just made that revenue off of on my front porch while it was raining in this attire, hoodie, beanie.
Yeah.
And it was just like what's up, market area? If your gutters are overflowing,
Yeah.
give us a call. Sounds
Yep.
better than that, but you get the
That's all you
point.
got to say. Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Cool, man. What do you think the problem is with window cleaning businesses stalling at the $10,000 to $15,000 mark? Let's just get a high level view of what the issue might be, because I've certainly experienced this where
Yeah.
like I'm a solo operator, I only have so much bandwidth, and there's this point where it doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how many hours you work. There is a plateau. And whether that's 10 or 15 or 20,000 is kind of irrelevant, but there's certainly this plateau that you hit as a business owner where you're capped in terms of the amount of revenue that you can bring in. So what are your general thoughts from a high level on why that is?
Man, it's a really good question. I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is, and I wrote this down in my journal when I had the idea to launch glass therapy, and when I started taking notes of what my vision was for the company. One of the top 5 things I wrote down was that I wanted to become irrelevant in glass therapy as quickly as possible.
Mm.
And the only way to do that is you have to delegate and duplicate yourself. And I think business owners who don't become irrelevant in their own business fast enough fail to duplicate their self. In other words, they're not hiring and training someone to fill their shoes and delegating other tasks that they shouldn't even be doing. And to be honest, I would have been one of those companies if I didn't hire a coach just a month and a half ago. Because I got to a place, I got as far as I could on my own with what I instinctively knew how to do. And the moment I got to a spot where I got to the end of this road and there was 900 different directions I could take and I didn't know which one to go down, is when I said, I need a guide. So I think it's a mixture of they're failing to delegate and they're failing at duplicating themselves. And then I also think that they're waiting far too long to ask for help. And just recognizing that we all need a guide, all of us, even all of us who sound like we know what we're talking about all the time, we all have guides, and we all are learning from somebody. So those are probably the top 2 for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I would certainly agree. I think that if you're the kind of person that has gone out to start their own home service business, it's likely that you have a good work ethic. And that's good. That's good to have.
Yeah.
You should be interested in working hard and building something. I think what gets people caught up, if you've been an employee for most of your life, is that you're used to going to your place of work, clocking in and clocking out at a certain time, and performing the executables of your job during the time when you're on the clock. And the reality about being an entrepreneur in general, and certainly a home service business owner, is that you need to always be thinking about what you're doing, the activities that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and how you can work yourself out of that job in the short to mid-term. So it's very important when you own a business to make sure that the processes that you're going through are being mastered and done really, really well. That's the first priority. And then the next priority is to figure out how to train your replacement to do those things really well, so that you can constantly ascend to, the next position of leverage, basically. As somebody who's starting out, you have a bucket, you have a truck, you have some business cards, you go out and you do the work of a technician. You clean the windows and you collect pay for it. That's great. You can make an okay living doing that. And I mean, in my opinion, just doing that, being kind of a bucket Bob, beats the heck out of being an employee any day of the week. But that's just my sick mind. But
I mean, I agree.
Yeah,
I'd rather do that.
Let's be clear, we're both sick. But
I'm not working. I'm not going to be a W-2 again. Like unless it's my own company.
I always tell people it's totally self-sabotaging, but kind of on purpose. Whenever I meet somebody who's who's a business owner, I almost immediately inform them that I'm a bad employee, so never
Mm,
hire me.
yeah,
Because it's just like I can't. I have spent some stints as an employee, and every time I just get to the same conclusion, which is that I need to be able to control my own destiny, so to speak. And there's always going to be something in a business that I'm working for that is suboptimal that I can't change, and I need to have the ability to make those changes if it's going to benefit the business.
yes,
Um, but in any case, I think that when you're running as a solo operator and doing the day to day work, it feels like the more you work, the more that you make, which is true up to an extent, right? You can produce, let's say you can produce $15,000 worth of window cleaning a month. That's awesome. That's, over $150,000 a year. And that's if you take 2 months of the year off. So that's great, but there is a hard cap to the amount that you can do by yourself. And so, yeah, I like those points of if you're going to start a home service business, start it with your hiring plan already in place. This is something that I didn't do, and I haven't done
yeah,
for years, mainly because for the longest time I decided that it wasn't something that I wanted to do. But I've gotten not stuck, but I've been in a position for a while where, you know, the dependence on getting the work done in the business is all on me. If I go away tomorrow, the next day, the business is belly up.
yeah,
And so I think it's really important to decide early on what kind of a business do you want to have? Do you want to own a
mm,
job that you go out to for, 20, 30 years? You just do the tasks that you enjoy doing. You have a hard cap on your income, or do you want to build a business? And if you want to build a business, it's really important to know when you're going to hire, which we talked about in the episode that went live uh at the time of this recording today,
yeah,
um which is like just before you can afford it. um and that's scary. It requires you to think in a way that's a lot different than a solo operator, but having that plan up front is going to save you years, trust me, because I've lived it.
there's a lot of unknowns. And it's probably why a lot of people stick to being either a W-2 employee working for somebody else or just a solo operator. Um, because there is also a tremendous amount of what can be headache and stress that comes with scaling a business and having employees. It's not the easy route by any means.
Yeah.
It is far more complex. And there's days where it feels like the life is being squeezed out of you. You just have to be built to know how to sustain that and almost enjoy it and be okay with living in this. I saw you might know this. I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but lately I've almost felt like I live in like this. I have this like constant healthy state of paranoia all
Hmm.
the time.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, I wonder if tomorrow the phones are just going to stop ringing,
Yeah.
and
Right.
I have to lay people off, and like I just bought a third truck. You always have these worst case scenario thoughts, and those don't go away, and you got to know how to push through those. And just to say this out loud too, if you are a solo operator, that's what you want, and you have that, like, keep going.
Do it.
Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
If that was your goal all along, was I want to just work for myself, I don't want any employees. I'm cool with making 150K a year, which you can absolutely do by
Yep.
yourself in just cleaning windows. Um, I mean, that's a great goal.
Yeah.
Great goal.
Yeah, and if your ambitions exceed that, I think that I mean I can sympathize empathize all day with the paranoia, and I just think that doesn't, like you said, it doesn't go away. I don't
No.
think it ever will. There's always going to
Yeah.
be some level of that. It comes down to if you get into this business and you decide that you want to grow something beyond just yourself, it comes down to long-term versus short-term uh paranoia.
Yeah.
Deciding if you want to get in this business and grow it and you don't, you should be paranoid for the future. Not whether or not you'll have work, but whether or not you'll grow the business that you set out to start in the first place.
Sure.
So there's this risk of like regret of like, what could I have done long term? Um, as opposed to, the short term risk. There's also, let's be clear, like you said, rock and roll. If that's what if you want to be a solo operator, do it. And I've chosen to do that for most of the existence of my business so far. So, um, yeah, hallelujah and amen. There is no shortage of risk as a solo operator, when it comes to doing work that is physical and involves ladders.
Yeah.
I've been super blessed that I've had no major injuries over the last decade, but whether or not I'm cleaning windows when it happens, I'm one torn ACL away from
Yeah. Career
my
being
entire
done.
revenue just being
Yeah.
gone for 4-6 months. um and again, fortunately, I've been in business long enough where like we could sustain that wouldn't be devastating to us. I mean, it would be, but it wouldn't be completely life changing as a family if that happens, but it still sucks
Yeah.
like
100%.
majorly. So there's no shortage of risk in building the business and in kind
Not.
of keeping it at a solo operator level.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, cold hard truth is that once you stop working as an employee, there's risk, period. So it kind of comes down to what kind of risk you want to adopt.
I think I think the largest risk you could take is working for somebody else. I feel the most uneasy when my entire livelihood is dependent on somebody else
Yeah,
giving me a paycheck. And to me, that's scary. That's more scary. Um, you are only as secure as your ability to create an income.
right.
But if you're
Yeah,
depending on someone else to give you an income, that's not security.
right. Yeah, agreed. I mean, that was one thing that I didn't say is that like I think that there's this general idea that there is security in employment.
Mm,
Um, and I certainly held on to a lot of that for a while. I mean, my mom worked for our local county for 18 years before she retired.
yeah.
Um, and it's always been her encouragement, which comes from a loving heart, for me to find something like that. A good career, quote unquote, that pays, 85 a year, has full benefits and a pension. But there's no job that's like ultimately safe. And I
Yeah.
think that, over the last couple of years, we've seen that even in government work, where it's like, just because you have a job and you got a paycheck last week doesn't mean that that's going to be the case,
Yep.
the following week.
Yep.
So I think that another reason why a lot of businesses stall at the 10 to 15K mark is that they're re-earning business every time they go to a job. Um, and what I mean by that is that their next job is completely dependent on what their lead flow looks like.
Mm.
Which to an extent for any business is the case. But what I'm beating around the bush here. What I'm saying is that they don't have systems built in to ensure that they have recurring work that's going
Oh,
to
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
continue on autopilot, more or less, or they're not investing enough into just following up with clients after they've been initially served.
Yeah.
Um, so we talk about this often, but you've built in a lot of recurring model, like you've built a lot of your business around the recurring model, which has been great. But even if you're not doing that, even if you're trying to clean windows at your clients' houses every 6 to 12 months, there's such a gold mine in your database that you've built up so far. And every time you complete a job for a new client should be far from the last time you see them.
Yes.
So making sure that you're maximizing that, I think, is crucial.
Yeah. Recognizing that the value of a customer, as long as you serve them well, is not one time.
Right.
And capitalizing. I mean, you think about it like this. Let's just say you start out, it's your first year, maybe in a summer, you clean 200 homes,
Mm,
and you start out with service plans, and you get those 200 customers to get on those service plans and rebook with you next year. You're automatically starting your next year off with exactly what you did the year prior.
right.
And that's what makes scaling in this industry so fast, that you can do it so fast when you do that.
Yeah.
And that's what's worked and benefited for us is we have $118,000 scheduled for 2026,
Right.
and we're 5 days in the month.
Right. Yeah, not bad, man. Yeah, I think that especially if you live in an area that is neighboring suburban areas,
Yeah.
investing into the recurring model is crucial, and just making sure that you're following up with your people, even if you're not going that route. You know, when I was in Sisters, um, I had a client that was like a pretty good job size. I want to say the bill was like $980 for window cleaning, interior and exterior. First time took me a while, but times after that, it was a like a 3 hour job basically solo. Um, and I think the lifetime value from that client, I don't think I know the lifetime client value from that client has been about $12,000. Because I've seen them every 6 months, and it's just like when I call them, they're booking, period.
Mm.
Um, so, and that lead, I mean, that lead I got, or just from like an organic Nextdoor post, but that makes, you know, this is not what your cost per lead is typically on something like meta ads or otherwise. But I mean, even at a $50 cost per lead, you're looking at insane value there in terms of the lifetime value of a client. And it reframes what you're actually investing to long term in terms of outbound marketing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So,
And another thought that just came to mind too that I don't think we've talked about much is pricing.
hmm,
You might be way too low, which also makes it equally hard to scale, right?
right,
You could be busy with a full schedule and you're like, I don't have enough profit to double my equipment so I can hire somebody to
right,
help me. Like, what's wrong there? And my first thought is going to be, well, you're probably too cheap. You got to raise your prices so that you
yeah.
can profit enough to actually put money back into the business and invest in the things that you need so that you can hire.
How do you figure that out? Let's say we don't want to get to the point where we want to buy equipment and find out that we can't afford it. How do
Yeah.
you in your business figure out if you're charging enough?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, pricing has been pricing is probably the single item in my business that has taken me the longest to figure out. And I've changed it, dude, oh my gosh, like 2 dozen times probably,
Yeah, yeah,
because there is no clear path for that. And it's so dependent on where you live. I mean, even in the window cleaning Facebook pages that you and I are both in, there's guys that look at me and be like, yo, how did you get that much money for that job?
yeah.
And that actually just recently happened. There was a very small, like, buy here, pay here car dealership. They have like 15, 20 cars in the lot at any
Mm,
given time. And they had paint on their windows that they just painted like the company logo and all of that.
mm,
But they left it up for like 7 years. It took forever to get off. But I think it was like 6 large square panes of glass to get all of that off, and I charged them almost $500. And
yeah.
I had posted a picture of that on the Facebook page, and there were several people that were like, hey, they paid you almost $500 for that. Like, how did you get them to pay that? And anyways, all that to say, it's a very hard thing to dial in,
Yeah.
and eventually, when I realized that I was actually far too cheap, I called a window cleaning company that's in our area to give me a quote on my own house. And that was the last thing that I did that helped me recognize what the going rate was and where I wanted to be, because they are the most expensive or were the most expensive window cleaning company in Clarksville, Tennessee. And I was like, well, I want to be just above them. So I
Right.
actually priced my prices just above them. And it was when I got a price on my own house. It helped me kind of just gauge what the market was in my area. So I would encourage people to do the same thing. Get a window cleaning quote from the most expensive company in your area and figure out how they priced your house. And then you can build from there. It's not hard.
Yeah, totally. Do you look at your close rate in terms of like estimate booked to
Yeah.
job booked to determine what that's looking like? Like
Yeah.
what does that look like for you?
Yeah. So from just for all of 2025, we were at about 54%.
Okay.
Which I'm fine with. To be honest, some might say that's a little too high. Some might say you should actually raise your prices a little more. I'm comfortable with that. If I can close half, that's great. And there will always be a point, I think, in time where with inflation and things like that, we're going to raise our prices. But yeah, the overall close was 54% for 2025.
Okay, cool. Well, that's confirmation. I already knew that I have some pricing work to do this year, but yeah, I think my close rate is closer to 65%, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe pushing 70. So we're a bit
And
it's
that doesn't.
hard too, man. It's hard too, especially as, a guy that doesn't have a lot of employees. It feels like every lead is your client. And that's just
Mm,
not true.
yeah.
Um, the reality is like what clients do you want long term? You want clients that are going to be thrilled with your service and thrilled to pay for it,
Yeah.
period. And so you can ensure that you're providing a good service. That's totally under your control. Them being thrilled with your pricing is not under your control,
Yeah.
except to an extent with how you present it and close, etc. There's certainly some sales tips that you can kind of take a hold of to improve that. But at the end of the day, you want clients that are thrilled to work with you, um, and thrilled to pay what you want to charge them because they'll come back and they'll pay more.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Yep, it's true, man. And there's pricing. That's always going to be a trial and error thing. It
yeah,
takes time. It takes time to figure out. It takes time to dial in. It takes time to figure out. It's the small things. It's the small, like, detailed pricing parts that go along with window cleaning. What I mean by that is like, you go to a house and it's like they have all very average windows, but then you get to like part of the house where you need to climb up on 3 different levels of roof to get
yeah,
to the window. And it's like, well, that window's not going to cost $10. That window's going to cost 25 just because of how hard it is to get. I
right.
know the window cleaning company that I had an estimate from, their per window price increased every time they had to bring a ladder to that window.
Hmm.
So there's all these different like details that go into it, and some people include track cleaning in their pricing. Some people make that an add-on. For us,
Yeah,
we it's just part of. I don't make it an add-on. If we're gonna clean their window, I just price everything to where this is what it is, and we do all of it.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. I think that yeah, that's interesting. We should probably do a full episode just on pricing because we've
Mm,
we've gone by about 10 minutes just talking about it specifically. I saw this guy that posted to a pressure washing Facebook page earlier, and he had a template for his like pricing itemization list.
yeah.
And so he would take every aspect of a given like property and quote the pressure washing for that given aspect. And he was talking about how that drastically improved his average ticket value.
Mm,
But I think there's also something to packaging everything as one and just being like an all inclusive, high grade professional window cleaning company. I have a hard time doing 2/3 of a service.
well, and I don't like the back and forth that it requires.
Yeah, yeah,
Where someone comes to us and they're like, "Hey, we want an estimate," and then I have to be like, "Cool, we're gonna clean here's an estimate for your windows," and then I can say, "But if you want your tracks done and your screens done, it's an upcharge."
yeah, totally.
Like, it's so much easier for me to say, "Well, we're gonna appear like we're the most expensive because we package it all together," but I don't ever have to upsell anything.
Right.
And I like that process better. It just
Yeah.
feels more professional. Deal.
Yeah, totally. Cool, man. Yeah. So, in terms of like making sure if you want to grow your business past yourself, it's extremely important, first off, that you premeditate that growth and you plan for it in advance. So, if I was starting my window cleaning business again and I had the mindset that I have now, I would figure out uh, either the amount of work that I'm putting in as an individual or the amount of revenue that I'm making as a benchmark for when I'm making my first hire.
Mm,
That would be the first thing. Second, I would get a coach immediately um, to basically illuminate the unknown unknowns for you,
yeah.
and whether or not, like, great if this person's in the window cleaning or home service space, great. Anybody with business experience that you interview that seems really solid is going to be a net benefit for you. And I mean, I can say this from working with Nick Vudo for under 2 months now.
Yeah.
Is like he's pulled some levers for me, or just shown a spotlight on some levers for me in my window cleaning business and for the agency that I didn't even know existed, and I just have to pull them now.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's never cleaned a window in his life. No offense, Nick, but
He hasn't.
yeah.
I can
So
attest.
yeah, so people know what you don't, and they can help. So that's a big one. And yeah, man, just making sure that you have systems that are going on the marketing side that compound over time,
Yeah.
which I think goes back to what you were talking about with having a good website and a Google business profile that's dialed in, is that a little bit of effort goes a long way, and it keeps working for you you after you start. You don't have to put inputs in it indefinitely.
Yeah.
It will yield a return for you long term. So yeah,
Totally agree,
good
man.
stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I think we'll probably do this again next week. So I'll see
Can't
you
wait.
then.
Let's go, bro.
Right on.
See you.
Thanks, everybody. This has been Clean for Profit, and we'll see you again soon.
See y'all.